small saucepan, peeler, a knife. It does not have to be as big as ours, can be smaller. A cutting board, which is down here, and a bowl of some sort, and then some kind of shallow dish. We have kind of a small cookie pan, but you can use a Pyrex or anything shallow because we're gonna soften your rice paper with it.
So we start to peel the carrots first, and we use just half carrot, not full carrot.
So we're gonna peel the carrots, get it clean. We're only gonna use about half the carrot.
Okay. So lo vamos a cortar muy muy delgado.
So cut just a little tiny bit off of one of the edges. We're gonna cut them really thin.
So después lo vamos a cortar muy delgadito para que nos deje trabajar bien en el spring roll.
So we're gonna cut them really thin so that they work really well in the spring rolls because we're not cooking any of this. After you cut your carrot, we're going to put that right into the bowl. We're taking the cucumber. Yep. We're doing it. Alright, we're not going to peel it. We tried to give you the actual sizes of things, so we didn't have a bunch of waste sitting around.
Cucumber vamos a hacer lo mismo.
So with the cucumber, we're going to do the same thing we did with the carrots, lengthwise. You're going to cut them real thin, and then you're going to turn them into matchsticks again.
Más delgado que se pueda para que puedan hacer bien el spring roll, no se les rompa la hoja.
So the thinner you make it, the more fine you cut it, it's going to be better for the spring roll so it doesn't rip the wrapper. Alright, so now if you can get some hot water if you have it, but as warm as you can make it, we're going to soak the noodles. So we just put the water in the bowl, and then we put the noodles right in there. If your water is not super hot, put a top on it, just something to cover it, and that'll help them separate. If your water is super hot, then it's just fine and it'll do it itself. And sort of just put those off to the side. Alright, so with the noodles, you do want to make sure that they're submerged all the way. So if they're not submerged, you want to make sure that you add either a little bit more water or you move them around so all the different pieces are submerged in there. That the water will soften them up. With many Asian noodles, you don't actually have to cook them the way we do. You don't have to boil them. All you have to do is warm them and they soften up right there.
Okay. Vamos a cortar el cilantro en julienne, bien finito también para que podamos revolver todos los ingredientes y tenga un sabor muy bonito, que todo esté bien mixteado.
So get the bunch of cilantro. We're going to cut it really fine as well. Take it kind of bunched together in your hand and then cut it really fine. What he's saying is that's basil. That's basil.
Yeah,
that's
cilantro and basil is the same way.
So we're going to cut the cilantro. We're going to add it in, and so it adds the freshness to the flavor. We don't want it to overpower the vegetables. And cut only until you start hitting the stems. We left a little bit extra. You can turn this into salsa tomorrow. Pick the basil so that you don't get stems in there.
Yeah, it's like 4 or 5
Put the cilantro in the bowl?
Yeah, put the cilantro right in the bowl.
For basil, just 4 or 5 leaves.
For the basil, just 4 or 5 of the big leaves. stacking them and then rolling them.
Same like taquito.
Make a little taquito with them.
Okay.
All right.
So vamos a sacar la pasta, lo vamos a echar en todo el mix que tenemos acá.
So we're going to take the pasta out of you're going to drain the water from your noodles. They should be soft and pliable now. And we're going to take them, we're going to drain the water, and we're going to put it in with the vegetable mixture. Just give it a good squeeze so that you don't have too much water, because otherwise it's going to make your rolls watery.
Esta misma agua vamos a usarla para poner en la...
So keep your water. We're going to use that water for to soften the rice paper when we're done. And now you just give it a good mix of all your noodles and your carrots and all your other veggies.
So, esta receta es así, si gustan adherirle un pinch a sal, está bien, si no, está perfecto para el dulce de Swiss chili sauce.
So you can add some salt if you'd like, if you'd like to have a little more flavor. But the sweet chili sauce, when we make it, will go perfect with these, so it's not needed.
Vamos a sumergirla.
So we're going to work on softening up the rice sheets so that we can start wrapping. And they're kind of delicate, so we don't want to bend them too much. But there's a lot of them. They're all kind of stuck together, but they should be pretty thin.
So uno a la vez, okay?
So you stick one in the water at a time.
Like 30 seconds.
It needs about 30 seconds in the water just to soften up again.
Que la sumerjan bien para que se ablande el rice.
Yeah, so make sure that you submerge it all the way underneath so that it softens up. You can see it turns very delicate after that.
Si está muy ya manejable, ya la pueden sacar del agua.
Once it gets really soft, you can take it out of the water and put it on your cutting board or table.
Okay.
And then stretch it out so it's straight.
Okay. Vamos a poner, todo esto alcanza para 6 spring rolls.
So all the veggies you just cut are going to make 6 spring rolls. So just kind of take a handful, make sure you got your noodles mixed in, you got some of all the different veggies and the herbs in there. You put it right in the middle.
Yes. Lo vamos a enredar como si fuera un burrito.
So we're going to make little burritos with them. So you're going to fold the sides in first.
Are we supposed to do anything with the flour or the chili sauce yet?
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Pegan entre ellos.
So when you put them on the plate, don't put them next to each other because they'll stick to each other. Give them a little, if you're putting them on a plate, don't stick them right next to each other. All right, ready to do some sauce? We tried to make it super easy, so all we do is mostly heat and serve. So we need the chili mixture. We need the flour and the red chili flakes. That should be all that you have left. And then you need a saute pan or small saucepan works just as well. A rubber spatula, if you have it, is going to be the best. What we're going to do is we're going to heat the sauce. We're going to add the flour, which is going to turn it into what's called a roux, a thickener, to give it a little bit of thickness.
Right?
So what goes in the saucepan first?
You're gonna add the sauce to it.
Ok, abrimos la salsa ahí. Ok, en lo que está calentando, vamos a echar agua en la harina en el mismo container.
So in that little container, we're gonna add water, and we're gonna mix it right in the little container separate. Can you see what he's doing?
Esto nos va a ayudar a que se ponga la salsa un poquito más gruesa.
So it's gonna thicken the sauce. So you wanna mix it real well with a spoon, just so it's not too clumpy. And the sauce is in the pan warming up already.
So, cuando empiece a broil, vamos a echarle la harina poco a poco y la vamos a mover para que no se hagan bolas.
Okay, so when the sauce starts to boil, we're gonna add the flour slurry slowly, a little bit at a time. You have to do it a little bit at a time, otherwise it's gonna clump up. So you just do a little bit so it starts to thicken it and move it constantly. You can see in ours there's little clumps, you just kind of flatten those out.
No, más la mitad.
You only need to pour about half of the mixture in, and then continue to stir it. You'll see it starting to thicken up, and it'll start pulling away from the edges.
Solo que ya
Do
terminé.
you already put the chili flakes in, or no?
The chili
Si
flakes.
quiere,
If you want it spicier,
ya que le eche.
then add the chili flakes.
Depende de los spicy que quiera. Sí. ¿Sí viste cómo sí la empezó?
So you can taste a little bit to make sure. Oh, in the yes, some metales. You can taste it to see if you wanted any spicier than it already is. If you do, you can just add the chili flakes in and give it another minute or so.
Sí.
If you have a little bowl, you can put it in a bowl. If you don't want to make more dishes, you can just leave it in the pan.
Ok, si tienen un plato ya para servir el dinner, podemos cortar de una vez los spring rolls, ponemos la salsa a un lado y esperamos ya para sentarnos a cenar.
All right, so if you're gonna have it for dinner, then you would cut these. We like to cut them on a bias so they look pretty. And then we're gonna present them with the sauce, and then they're ready to eat, just like that. That one's clean.
Yeah, because it's in the shop.
Oh,
It's in the shop.
That's awesome. You want it? Well, I don't know how good it's gonna be, but.
we're just cutting and plating the spring rolls.
Can I try one? I think I'm gonna eat one. Yeah. They're really good. But
They're really good, huh? They're light, they're fresh. They actually don't take a long time to make. And
no, they're great.
you can add shrimp, you can add cold grilled chicken in there. If you'd like, you can play with the different vegetables you like. The idea is to keep it fresh. And it's a good, it's rice paper, so
What
it's
time do you